previous versions were being rediscovered, and the times dropped with it. Even though they had long since patched scan dashing, Space Jump could still be your first item. Traditionally, that would be done by just targeting an enemy instead of scanning. However, it's not quite as simple as this. Switchport is primarily based on the Trilogy Wii release of Metroid Prime rather than the PAL or Japanese release of the GameCube version. This version not only kept the scan dashing change, but also nerfed dashing in general, making it so your speed is lost almost immediately. This can be avoided, but we can work around it with a technique known as extended dashing. By dashing to the ground, and immediately performing a second dash when Samus touches the ground, you'll carry over the speed from the first dash into the second. Then, by holding what's known as a soft input, you can preserve that speed, giving you just enough space to make this jump. We aren't home free yet though. As we mentioned earlier, Remastered carries over a lot of the movement features introduced in the Wii version. This change makes it extremely difficult to cross any gap even with an extended dash. However, they conveniently added a standable ledge here that doesn't exist on any other version of the game. The collision is higher than it looks, thankfully it's sloped, so with some careful movement, we can still land here and walk very slowly to make it to the space jam. On its own, this considerably streamlines the route, getting rid of huge backtracks between Talon Overworld and Midrun and Drifts. But we aren't finished yet. There are still some major backtracks to contend with, even if we get the space jump early. With the addition of the Decimate in front of doors in this version, getting power bombs as early as possible is extremely important. However, the most common way to get a power bomb early is to grab this expansion with the Magnum. With infinite speed and the Aether both being removed, this expansion just won't be possible to get early on the Switch. However, just because a specific secret world is patched, that doesn't mean they all were. In fact, practically none of the methods of getting out of bounds were patched, only the scan dashing and the Aether. So, a secret world that doesn't require using the physics engine will still work. So let's look for another expansion to get. Down here in Magma Caverns, underneath the Artifact of Strength has a power bomb. Normally you need to use a power bomb to get here, but conveniently, just outside of this room, there's an out-of-bounds clip that can be done with Triclops. Through an incredibly precise sequence, you can actually get this guy to throw you out of bounds and carefully navigate standable collisions to get to the expansion. Funnily enough, getting this expansion early this way is actually impossible on other versions of the game, and only works because of the changes to out of bounds that forces Samus back in bounds when holding the control stick against the wall. We can also get the Ice Beam and Grapple Beam early with Secret Worlds, exploiting this same patch that was meant to keep players from going out of bounds. The most recently rediscovered Sequence Brick also abuses changes made exclusively on the Switch version. In every Metroid Prime game, if the camera is obscured when Samus transitions from Morph Ball mode to her normal state, the transformation animation is skipped. This state has the unintended side effect of making Samus actionable immediately, and can be used to gain extra height on jumps with a technique known as Bomb or Spring Space Jump. In the original Metroid Prime, it's pretty hard to get this to happen, and can only be done in specific spots with specific setups. However, with each new game, the amount of time the camera needs to be obscured is reduced. By Prime 3, normal movement through rooms will cause you to be in this state. They seem to have carried this over to Metroid Prime Remastered. This change allows you to BSJ and SSJ in places you never would have been able to do on other versions of the game. This includes right after the Flagra fight. After you defeat Flagra, the game forces you down a shaft that normally requires the Spider Ball and Super Missiles to climb back up. As you fall, a trigger is hit telling the game to change the state of the room from Get Varia Suit mode to Get the Artifact mode. In the GameCube version, you can hit this trigger and bomb jump back up the shaft to get the artifact early. But this was thought impossible once they instituted the one bomb and air rule, at least until now. With an extremely precise SSJ, runners can now do this trick on Remastered, saving an insane amount of time over coming back here later. Whatever the intentions, fans of Metroid Prime speedruns can pick up whatever copy they find, look up resources, and have a pretty good time despite the version differences in said copy. Metroid Prime Remastered is probably the most patched version of the game, yet its speedrun is great despite all the changes. Draconev recently finished the first any% speedrun with Space Jump Burst in it, and likely plans to do another with early Artifact Wild in the future. Mr. Miguel released a task on the Wii version that features skips that haven't even been done on the GameCube version before. None of these changes ruin the game or ruin the speedrun. They've created a different run. This is one of the rare games with multiple patches that can be enjoyed this way. And do you really need anything else? This has been Zalux. Thank you for watching Lowest%.
Yeah, I don't like Monk Ethelyn. Fuck it, Vale rests. Mara already subclasses into a monk.
I'm Billy S, welcome back to the channel. Today we're starting a two-part series on Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link for the NES. Today I'll be ranking the 8 dungeons of the
Like
game
classing
from
it, the
worst
Zodiac
to
doesn't
best.
give you the TP
And
restoring thing.
what tackle causes. The Adventure of Link is the odd one out of the mainline Zelda franchise, looking to innovate in an entirely new direction, and for the time it was considered a hit. And I can guarantee that people who think back on this game with such fondness, taking the rudimentary combat of Zelda 1 and creating a 2D side-scrolling battle system with an incredibly high skill ceiling. But with that height comes difficulty, and for modern audiences, Zelda 2 stands as one of the retro greats of hard games. And the dungeons and exploration are a key aspect, with many of the game's toughest foes appearing in various palaces throughout Hyrule. Please be aware I'm playing the Adventure of Link via the Nintendo Switch Online NES app, and I am using the ZeldaDungeon.net guide. This game isn't as dang-it as the original, but there are still moments where it comes in handy.
Why not?
So let's get started. All 8 dungeons in the Adventure of Link. Ranked. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. While not technically a dungeon, there is one location in the Adventure of Link that is so infamous in its design. It deserves a place on this list, and it sits at the very bottom of my ranking for the way it practically pushes away new players in their tropes. Yes, we're talking about Death Mountain. Based on the mythic first palace of the game, Death Mountain is found after crossing the river village and heading south. And this area is a gigantic mountain range. Various caverns can be found and entered, each leading to a different area or areas, creating a maze-like sense of navigation. It's easy to get lost and lose your way without a guide, and trust me, you will need a guide, because with only 3 lives to your name, taking a wrong turn is effectively asking for a why? Well, Death Mountain is home to a vast array of enemies, and while many of them fit the areas of difficulty,
Well, you know
there are
Zodiac
some
can work too.
exceptions. The Orange Gyros, who charge Link for doing heavy damage if you don't defeat people with perfectly timed sword slashes. The Blue Mariah in this one screen was extremely tanky while the ranks are incredibly difficult to block. Or worst of all, the Red Gyro, whose infinite axe-throwing abilities lead to death for most players. These extremely tough foes are placed in the path you need to take, and feel like a real slap in the face to the player who is 100% not leveled up enough to handle them with any sense of ease. And this area is required to obtain the hammer, needed to break boulders on the main road to access the third palace and beyond. Imagine making it to the chamber of the hammer only to lose the last of your life to the Red Gyro mind. Or perhaps you fall into lava or platforming, losing one of your 3 lives to a stupid mistake. At least I have the NES Online Rewind feature, but even then, I'd sometimes just restart at Hyrule Palace and go at it with a fresh take anyway. This area is too expansive to be a regular zone, yet too
Ninjutsu
to be ranked anywhere
reduces
on
draw
the
rate.
on this list. A dungeon that likely scared off many modern players who were often put by the difficulty spike, especially when the rest of the game is much more forgiving outside of the endgame content. The first palace on our list happens to, well, be the first palace of the game. Hidden in a desert to the northeast of Hyrule Temple, Parappa Palace is your first destination in the game. You can get it pretty much immediately from the game's beginning, after taking a brief stop in Rowell to get the shield spell, and collecting a heart container on an optional side path with a lot of levels. Once you arrive, the brilliant palace theme kicks in, and it's time to explore. Only, I find Parappa Palace a little obnoxious for a first dungeon, as it introduces a few mechanics and enemy types that I feel weigh this game down. For example, the tin suits that constantly spawn in the first few rooms. They die in one hit, but getting damaged also causes you to lose experience points. There are many enemies throughout the game that share this trait in causing Link to lose his XP, and it's a game mechanic I'm not fond of. It's the first thing you learn about in this dungeon too. It's a mostly linear experience, as the dungeon doesn't branch off into too many directions, asking you to find a series of keys to unlock doors so you can reach the dungeon item and boss the usual standard fare. There aren't many tricky room setups due to Link's lack of out at this point in the game, so there's only so much they can throw at you. I like the collapsing bridge where you can risk grabbing a point there. I think the mace thrower enemies work really well in this game, reminding me of the Hammer Bros from Mario, with slightly easier tells. And while I think the Iron Knuckle enemy type is a little overtuned for combat in this first dungeon, they do act as a great wall for the player to move on, as if you learn how to defeat them, you'll have a much easier time handling the rest of the game. I'm also not the biggest fan of the bubble enemies, what a shock. You can kill them for 50 experience if you have the patience, and you will need patience. But otherwise, they're just a hindrance that can sap your magic meter, especially this room of like 3 to 4 of them. They're in every single palace, and it just feels egregious here when you're still relying on just the shield spell, and you barely have any magic to begin with. This dungeon gives you the candle item, which automatically lights up dark caves, allowing you to see enemies inside, but once you gain the candle, there's only one way left to go to the boss, and it's kind of just an enemy gauntlet. I'll save my thoughts on the bosses for tomorrow's video, so they're not going to factor too much, but I appreciate this boss doesn't go too hard against the player, and the skills you learn from fighting Iron Knuckles can definitely apply to this fight. It's a shame this palace couldn't use more creative room design like the rest of the list, which makes it feel a bit bare bones in comparison to the other dungeons, but I digress. Next up on our list, we have the third dungeon of the game, the Island Palace. Found by dropping into a hidden grave and using the newly obtained fairy spell to walk your way out of a cavern, you arrive at the island where the palace resides and enter with a spring in your step. Firstly, the color palette is gorgeous. I love the dark red rouge, and it gives a very different atmosphere to the greys and blues we've seen before. Our goal in this palace is to collect the raft needed to access Eastern Hyrule and then defeat the boss. I think the first portion of this palace is its strongest aspect, but also shows a maturity of what this area has to offer. You have these special rooms that encourage the use of the jump spell to navigate. There are these rooms with low ceilings that spawn fallen blocks, which can be tedious if you don't have cover, but luckily this palace gives you that, so you can avoid the damage. This palace also introduces these rooms where you have to scale unbreakable blocks, all the while enemies like Iron Knuckles wait for you to make a mistake, especially when they start adding people with variants that can shoot sword beams in there. There's even a roof room where you get to emerge outside of the palace to collect a key. A nice moment of freedom seeing the sun before delving back into the dark. But that's
The scale really need reduced targeting.
The palace rehashes these exact move combinations, and they don't feel different enough to excite me. Also, if you want to leave the palace, you need to have enough magic with the jump spell, use elevator, or you're trapped, which really sucks. You should always be able to backtrack out of the palace without needing to use traversal spells in my opinion. The enemy variety is pretty solid though. They introduce new Iron Knuckles, which is useful when you face the boss of the dungeon. There are also Iron Knuckles which are introduced in that fly along the screen and drop flames onto the ground when they're hurt. You have a fun challenge to the rooms they're in, and they're great in every palace coming up. I'm not a fan of these wolf heads that slowly inch towards you. They seem easy to
Yeah, I think Vale was actually fine as a ninja.
and they keep spawning in, and you're just trying to grab the key and escape some blocks. It's not fun.
Now we do have E as the ninja monk.
It's
be kind of redundant.
It doesn't stick the landing in the second half of the dungeon. If I can just take a
Alright.
moment of your time, I'm trying to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2023. And now I'm back in some rank. I know you can do it. Look at how many of you aren't subscribed. So be sure to carry that subscribe button for more gaming countdowns every Wednesday and Saturday. Back to the video. Rounding out the bottom half of our list is the Nora Palace, also known as the Swamp Palace, the second you encounter in the game. Now technically you can visit this place before tackling the brutal Death Mountain, and I suspect that's what the developers intended. But most players tend to go after Death Mountain first for the extra magic container and access to the gallery first. Whichever way you go, the dungeon is either a fair step up in difficulty or a nice change of pace after the brutality of Death Mountain, as long as you ignore the slow, slow shot. It's fairly linear, but has a bit more depth than the Run Palace, showcasing a variety of new obstacles, such as this room, requires utilize the jumping skills navigate, avoiding the mace throws. For this room, you have to race across before you're dropped into the lava. And while it's not my favourite obstacle by a long shot, the room for falling blocks prior to the dungeon item provides a decent challenge. I really like this little point bag setup where if you got the downward thrust, collect it. It's a nice reward for doing Death Mountain first. Dora Palace doesn't have much else outside of the usual epic moments and games, but since it's the second palace in the game, I'm not expecting much more. The rooms that are unique feel more interesting than Miranda, and it's a consistent ride all the way to the boss, which is surprisingly tough. This dungeon is also important for its item, the Handy Knife, which finally allows Link to break breakable blocks with his sword swings. It is needed for the rest of the game, and really opens up a whole host of creativity in Ninja Palace design. Dora Palace doesn't do so much right, as much as it beats out other dungeons that do more wrong, and is consistently decent in everything. I think it deserves a golf plan. And just missing out of my top 3, we have the Hidden Palace, also known as the Three-Eyed Rock Palace, the final one you visit before making your way into the end game. And I have such mixed feelings about this location because the positives are quite positive, but the negatives would be really negative. You can find this palace the moment you reach some higher, using the flute to reveal it by standing within this rock formation, but you'll find yourself unable to progress as there are no keys within the palace, yet locked doors exist. Instead, you need to venture to the hidden town of Kasuto within the forest. Driven away from the original town of Kasuto, once you find them, you must learn the spell, which can only be taught if you have 7 magic segments to your keeper, and then use this spell on the map of the town to reveal a chamber containing the magical key. All of this makes the dungeon accessible, and the palace itself is a greatest hits of the various room types from every past dungeon, with a couple of tricks of its own. For one, there's a looping series of hits very early on. This small puzzle as the rooms look very similar, attempting to trick the player. This palace is also the only one to contain a mini-boss, and the Revenant boss battle is reused twice in 2 different points. I do wish the mini-bosses had been used throughout the game, similar to how Zelda 1 handled them, but I'm going to take what I can get. My main complaint with the dungeon, though, I alluded to this earlier, is that this is still just a greatest hits of things we've already got. I've seen a majority of these rooms before, and while you can make the case that this dungeon is showing you how far you've come, I would rather have seen more unique stuff like the looping halls. There's also a really hidden floor on the way to the dungeon item that feels like a cheat. And the ending of the dungeon is very brutal as you're supposed to use the fairy spell during a drop to get to the boss arena. Most people won't realize this, but we forced you to a descent, and then an amount of backtracking that is just tedious, to be honest. And that's assuming you have the magic left to even cast fairy. If you don't, grab a club. There's a link Dalton right at the drop that'll keep doing one up, and the hallway is packed to the brim with tough enemies, so you could possibly die trying to reach it. Thank God the boss is great at least. Taking our bronze medal, this may be a controversial pick because many consider this to be one of the toughest dungeons in the game. It's the Ocean Palace, also known as the Green Dungeon. The Ocean Palace is perhaps more than any other aside from the Great Palace, an absolute maze to navigate. Look at the full map of the dungeon online. I love that to get through it, you go in from one's direction, because it completely throws the concept of quiet dungeons, asking you to navigate from left or right out. With a whole host of rooms, some of which share a layout, it's easy to lose your bearings and find yourself scrambling to find a way out of the maze. There are new mage enemies that fire slow moving fires at you, which make for a fun time when you reach areas with lower ceilings. The dungeon also introduces secret passages and hints, showing you a rather suspicious dead end at the end of each giant hallway, only to reveal BAM as secret passage in each other. And this is compulsory to find, as the dungeon item and the key needed to progress in the don't. The enemy placement is generally difficult and fair, with the exception of the final room before the boss, where they place the first iron knuckle at a lower elevation to the player, making it easy for him to hit you, but not making to hit him. I'm also not a fan of the forced fairy usage right out of the gate, especially when you have bubbles get them. But at least it is right at the start of the dungeon, where you're likely to still have your magic, as opposed to towards the end, like in Unbreaking Century. All of this ending with a rather tanky boss that has a difficult hitbox that makes the hits like a truck. Honestly, more power to the players who beat this palace without a guide. I bet it was satisfying. You know, I can't say I was expecting to place the Maze Palace in my silver medal spot. Before Palace you visited the game down at the end of Maze Island, this is a mage's paradise, filled with wizards and projectiles that will aim to take you out as soon as possible. Better hope you found that missing child and brought it back to the town of Durham. Because to succeed in this palace, you need to reflect spell. This power can reflect magic attacks back to your attendants, and is the only way to defeat the wizards that will hound your every step, as well as the boss fight with Carol, which I'll touch on tomorrow. What I like about the Maze Palace is how immediately it splits off at the very start. To the left, a locked door; to the right, the first half of the dungeon. You have to hop through corridors with sound bumps, take a massive leap of faith for a jump spell, and dodge fairly dangerous rooms filled with lava to take you to a series of keys. And of the various lava platforming sequences, these were actually my favourite, requiring precise movements, but allowing me to take my time and not panic. We're also introduced to gates that lead down to the lower parts of the palace, on which you have to fall down to reach the dungeon item that moves the house downward command. I love the item you obtain here, as if you get a game over and return from the start of the game, when you reach Maze Island, you can walk up the river instead of going along the paths to get to the palace. Perks of having routes that let you walk on halfway. The left half of the dungeon reuses similar concepts, including the same lava platforming as before. And while the third time reusing that room is a bit much, I still prefer it to some of the other palaces. All of this leading to a fun jump room, followed by some more hanging ceilings, some more wizards, until you reach the boss. I think the main reason why I love this palace is the enemies at play. I have a real love for mages, as they're extremely easy to take out and reflect, and it gives me a nice bit of therapy following the wizards from the first game. The boss is surprisingly easy, which means a free level up, and while there is a ton of lava platforming, the actual part of the boss once unlocked only has one compulsory lava segment. All in all, a solid dungeon that, while it doesn't throw the kitchen sink at you, knows what it wants to do and does it well. You used a mini-boss or something like. Does it surprise anybody that the number one dungeon in the adventure of Link is the Great Palace? This level has a completely different vibe from the rest of the dungeons, with this epic entrance to dispel the barriers set by the rival, and plunge into the depths of the toughest palace in the game. Now you may be thinking, oh really? Getting here was fun. The barrier of 10? I don't want to do that again. Well dear viewer, this is perhaps the biggest reason why I love the Great Palace. You get a respawn point. Yes, you heard me. If you game over, you respawn at the start of the palace and not the start of Hyrule. And this probably explains why I love this dungeon so much, because with the lives you have, you're making excursions into the dungeon, getting better at fighting the enemies, maybe getting over it and learning a little more each time. It's like a roguelike, just with a dungeon whose layout doesn't change. Now, I followed a guide to get me through the palace, but even with the guide, I found myself confused and lost and without direction multiple times. Having to run from the enemy forecast, souped up iron knuckles, and decimate your health bar, it was exhilarating. Especially this great boss, my god. Or how about getting ambushed by a gigantic slug? I knew it was coming, I've seen footage of it before, but for someone who doesn't know, that's a jump scare. For me, it's a note that really close to the end. The layout is so varied with so many different paths to take that charting your way through the dungeon is a challenge in itself. And it's perfect, as you don't have any locked doors barring your way. All set to the best remix of the Palace theme, all the while the grandiose golden ropes, blue tapestries, and ever-present atmosphere accompany your descent. It's all you reach the boss of this dungeon in the Grand Hall, and once slain, you obtain the Triforce into one final fight. That being said, I absolutely despise that if you don't make it to the Thunderbird without half of your magic meter, any of you will have all things up. They should give you a free red potion before you enter the fact that they have entirely new enemies in the Great Palace unique to the sun, and they're all bird people? Will the Falker secretly just Pluto? This theory is beginning to take shape. It's the perfect blend of difficulty, while when you take it off to the path of the palace, it's actually manageable because you don't end up taking on the most dangerous rooms. I'm really glad I got the chance to beat the Great Palace at this game. It's been a bucket list backlog for a long time, and I can finally say I'm confident in the adventure. Congratulations, Great Palace, the top spot is yours. And that's it for today's video. Which palace is your favourite? Leave your comments down below, and be sure to carry that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all my latest content. Tune in tomorrow where I rank the bosses. My socials are on screen now. Look and follow me if you feel comfortable. I recommend my Twitter or my Blue Sky. And a massive shout out to my patrons over on Patreon for supporting me for another month. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time. Adios.
Okay.